Welcome to Charmed Life, a radio show discussing spirituality, magic, and the unconditional love of the universe. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Charmed Life. I'm your host, Tricia Carr. I'm so pleased to be with you. And however you are joining us, whether you're watching it live at our special broadcast, which is in the evening, hi. I hope that y'all are going to have fun with us tonight because I'm going to have fun with you. And if you're watching this in replay in my archives on YouTube, or if you're listening as a podcast on iTunes, Spreaker, or Stitcher, your timing is perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. And I do hope that you'll come another time at my regular live broadcast time, which is Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. And you can find it on... we go live on Facebook, facebook.com/Tricia Carr Charm, and also at ubnradio.com, channel 1. So I wanted to get a little bit of business out of the way before I headed into welcoming my in-studio guest and talking about all the high vibrational spiritual stuff, because that's what we need right now. We do. We need to turn our attention away from all of the stuff that we think is scary. And I'd like to emphasize that I said we think is scary. But I would love to talk about a class that I'm offering right now. Online course. It's self-paced, and it's animal communication. So this is to teach you how to speak with animals and nature telepathically. And the course actually also has in it just the components of teaching you telepathy in general and opening up your clairvoyance and your clairaudience, all of your spiritual and extrasensory perceptive gifts. And also a little bit about meditation, really tips on how to start a meditation process. There's a lot of resource. I'm talking about the perspective of animals and of Gaia and, of course, of the spirit realm. So I'm very excited about it, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I highlight it on the show today. I have an early bird registration price before the middle of February, and the price is going to go up after that. And then it actually goes, I'm going to be raising the price after the first iteration because it's pretty juicy and I like it a lot. And I want to be able to reach people that really have a heart for animals and also for ascending this planet. I think that what is really key to us growing together is to be able to connect with Mother Earth energy, which is the same signature energy, very similar to the energy of the universe or of God or of divine, and to be able to understand our position as the bridge, and to be able to bring in the energy of those. This kind of love frequency is how we're going to actually continue with this global shift that we're in. And we are in a global shift. That's actually what you guys are feeling. It isn't that it's Armageddon. It's not Armageddon. It's actually something really wonderful, and that's what we're heading for. And so that's really on my heart. My mission, like the way that I like to talk about my mission, is as a prophet for Gaia and a champion for sensitive people, for creatives, for intuitive people, for people who really came into this existence saying, I want to make this world a better place. And if you're watching this, if you're hearing this right now, I know that that's you. And I want to thank you also. I want to thank you for being that with me and with everyone else here who comes in through Charmed Life, and including Jarvis, who's producing, got us on air and our special broadcast time. So please do keep up with me. My website is Tricia Carr Charm, and then I also have a website for this show specifically, and that's Charmed Life with Tricia Carr. So without further ado, I'm honored to once again welcome into the studio with me celebrity psychic and entertainer Laura Powers.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so lucky to get Laura in studio because she is quite the traveler. Really like that's, yes. You are I don't want to say vagabond, I think is a derogatory term.
Yeah, no, it's true. So just this month I've been, Denver, DC, New Orleans, Anaheim, Las Vegas, and LA.
That's amazing.
So that's just
This
1 month. This month.
That's so amazing.
So technically this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So far.
Well, we're gonna have to get you your own set of fairy wings so that you could just bypass all of the LAX trouble.
Yeah, I know, because I actually fly out tomorrow, and I was thinking like, oh, just asking the angels for lots of help with all of that.
And you're going to Denver. There's no Burbank?
No, I mean, sometimes the flights are not always as great from Burbank in terms of availability,
or you have
flight
to have
times, or
layovers.
there's a layover, and I'd rather go to LAX than have a layover. So it's,
yeah, I totally agree.
But when I lived in Burbank and I could find one that was there, I was like, yes.
A direct
It's the
flight.
best, yeah.
And by the way, I'd love to mention that we are in Hollywood, California, as you can probably tell by all our airport references. But we're broadcasting live from the Universal Broadcasting Network studios in Hollywood, the Sunset Gower's building. So, well, I'm glad to see you for a minute while you're here, because that's about how long.
Yeah.
If you're staying visiting that many places, we got a minute.
Yeah, exactly. I tend to be, like 4 or 5 days in a place and then move along. So what I've been doing is going to city. I go usually do some kind of media appointment. Then I see clients and maybe have a psychic event. So and some fun in there too.
And by psychic event, you mean, having a group reading or some kind.
Yeah. Like I've been doing classes. Like I did a manifesting event for 2017 or a live reading event, which are events I've started to do where I do readings in front of the group and then people are called up. Yeah. And I love that. That's really fun.
That's so great.
Because the messages that are shared, even though it's technically for the person I'm reading, it's always for the whole group as well.
Thank you for saying that, because I keep meaning to say that on this show, actually, because we get, by the way, we are taking phone calls, 323-524-2599, to ask questions, spiritual questions, guidance, and, of course, for a reading live on the air. And what tends to happen, by the way, if you're a repeat listener, thank you so much. Seriously, I can feel, and I actually can feel that there are some repeat listeners, even though this is an unusual time for me to broadcast. And probably I'm feeling the future ones that
that are already coming. Yeah.
Or the ones that will hear it in the replay, because time is an illusion. But that oftentimes what happens is we get the first caller, like people are kind of nervous. They're like, I don't know, I don't want to call in. And then they hear someone call in and they're like, oh, well, that sounded like fun. Yeah. and then all the lines start lighting up. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, we have 5 minutes left.
Right. Yeah.
So I wanted to tell you guys, and again, thank you for reminding me that whatever we're talking about, and if you hear someone who calls in live and we speak with and they get a reading, if you're listening and something will resonate for you, that actually that's how intelligent the universe is that the universe knows in all space and time who's going to be showing up and listening, and there's going to be a little bit of something in there for you. So just know that if you call in and we don't get you on the air, you got your message anyway if you listen.
Yeah,
or part of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the, I think, beauties of being a psychic as well is it's also for the reader. And that's one of the ways I think as a psychic, you can shift very quickly. If you're listening in and you're taking that guidance, then you can like go fast forward in terms of growth, because you're constantly getting this guidance that's targeted just for you. It's amazing.
I've said before, I was like, guess what? Healers are selfish.
Right.
We're just getting the healing too. I mean, it's just divine energy moving through.
Yeah, although I don't think of it as selfish.
No, it's a joke.
It's just receiving, which is lovely.
Right, of course. We have a call already. Do you want to go ahead and take a call?
Sure, why not?
Okay, and then we'll start our topic. Actually, let's take our call. Let's do that, because that breaks the seal, like I said.
Yeah.
Hi there, you're live on the air. Who's this?
This is Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. Did you call me earlier today?
Just did.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for calling again. Because I did another special broadcast this morning.
Oh, nice.
So, Cindy, why don't you, Laura, do you want to start with Cindy?
Sure.
I know what we talked about earlier today.
Yeah, Cindy, do you have a particular question?
Sure. It's
or I can just see what they have to share with you.
Son.
Sorry, it cut out a little bit. What did you say?
What do you see in the future for my son?
For your son. Okay. All right. So what do you see for your son? So I'm calling on Cindy's angels and guides and my angels and guides to watch over and make sure that whatever comes through is for the highest good. All right. And just checking in here. Okay. Well, first I'm just getting an image of you holding him as a baby. And I'm not saying he's actually a baby, but that you've been holding him. And it's like you in the image, you actually trip and you release him. But they're showing me that whatever happens, it's like it's time for him to kind of grow on his own. So they want you to know that it's important for you to release that for him and not feel overly responsible, whatever happens. It's part of his path. Do you have any specific questions? I can see what else they share.
Are you there, Cindy? Oh, maybe we lost her.
We lost her. Okay.
Oh,
well, that's okay.
no.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe that's just as it was meant to be.
That's okay. Well, I hope you keep listening, Cindy. But thank you for calling. Did it come back? Okay, maybe. We got another call, or we got Cindy back on. So let's see who's there. Hi there. Who's this?
This is Darius.
Darius?
Ma'am, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you, Darius? Nice. Thank you so much for calling.
No problem. I don't really have a specific question, mainly just guidance, if you don't mind.
Oh, we need to call on Archangel Michael and Shamuel to
Help with the line.
Help with the line.
There's definitely some interference.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring in some light right now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we're better now.
Yeah, it feels better.
So Darius?
Am I better now?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Thank you, Angel. So go ahead, repeat what you said. It was breaking up.
Okay. Well, I don't have any questions about anything. I just want any guidance I just have, my higher self, or it comes to mind.
Okay, great. Do you want to start or?
Yeah, well, go for it, and then I'll
okay.
jump in.
Okay, so I'm getting I'm actually getting that you are a healer, that you are and the kind of healing that I'm seeing is actually like with your mind, like counseling, claircognizance. Do people come to you a lot for counseling, and they depend on you for support and guidance? Is that your experience?
Well, yeah, the process of building a foundation for my intuitive services. So yes, that would be definitely appropriate for sure.
Okay, great. So I see that connection is really strong. I see I don't know if claircognizance makes sense to you. Like you just have a knowing, and then you start to channel. I'm seeing it as a channel too. So you start to counsel someone.
Yes.
Yeah, and you really get the channeling juices going, and you feel very impassioned, and this comes right out through your heart too. So you're giving energy adjustments. When you're channeling, it comes down through your crown and then it goes out through your heart, and you're giving those adjustments to people by holding that higher frequency for them, holding that vibration. And then just by being with you and, like that actually helps to change for them. And then there's a bit of warning that's coming in right now about making sure that you do, because with your sensitivity, making sure that you do clear, you close the channel from like the crown, but more importantly from the heart, so that we don't continue to stay attached and to our clients, because that's going to be draining. And then what happens is, because we're so sensitive, we love so much, we have this almost like, my guides told me once that it's kind of like a psychic codependence, because we want so much, because we care so much, and then we keep when they're gone, and we're like, oh, I hope that they received the love I wanted them to have, and then we keep our business over there. But we need to just draw it back and realize that that's not our love anymore, it's their love. So go ahead and close that channel down, because that's going to be a big part of you having a lot more stamina, and then also being a stronger leader in it. And that's going to actually move your business forward too, because people are going to be even more attracted to you, because you're going to have that powerful feeling, and almost the feeling of a father that is very wise. So you're very safe, because you're going to take care of them, and then you're going to say, okay, now you're on your own, and you go make that happen. How's that all feel to you so far?
But how exactly do I close it down? Because I definitely I'm having these experiences where I'm picking up on things that aren't mine, and it's kind of like, whoa, what is this? And so I'm not going to close it out exactly. Okay.
Well, what's I would love to suggest to you. Thursday, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can find by Tricia Carr Charm, Charmed Life with Tricia Carr on YouTube. You just have to search that. And on Thursday, I'm actually putting up last week's show, which was on spiritual boundaries. So you'll have some tips there, but I'll also tell you right now. Well, first of all, just with your intention. One thing that I do as an empath and as a highly sensitive person is I do a meditation where I visualize a bubble around me and that divine light is filling the bubble so that that bubble is always full with divine energy and not my own. I'm not actually giving out my own. And what the bubble does too, this picture of the bubble, it's fragile, so it is like it's protective, but not in the sense of like resistance. It's more about keeping yourself in, and it's permeable, so it's actually you have a lot of freedom in it, but you know where it is, so that you can send back other people's energy. And just that visualization treatment will start to train you to have that awareness so that you're sending it back. Another thing is when you do notice that you have something that isn't yours, you can just close your eyes. You can like take a breath and center and just say return to sender. And return to sender isn't about like, this isn't mine and it's bad and I don't want it. And like you're sending it away to someone. It's theirs and they need it still, or they can send it away. But it's about keeping your energetic space clean. It's about spiritual hygiene. We really have to monitor our spiritual hygiene, and it's just like our physical hygiene. What we consume and what we give out, we need to make sure that it is aligned with love, with higher vibration. And we don't need to be taking on other people's stuff because this is our topic.
Yeah,
Laura.
yeah.
I was like, I gotta. I'm gonna stop now because you're brilliant, Darius. This is exactly the topic that we hadn't even introduced yet. So I'm gonna let Laura talk now.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. I love Spirit is so smart. But so everything Tricia was saying is absolutely true. And the other thing is there's this huge correlation between our physical boundaries, physical and emotional boundaries, and energetic and spiritual boundaries. So oftentimes if we're having a hard time with energetic boundaries, there's usually an area in our lives in which physical boundaries or personal boundaries are also a problem. So I recommend working at it from both angles. So doing, the meditations, the asking for protections, the clearing exercises, and then also, are there relationships in which you give more than you receive? Are there relationships in which you accept behavior that isn't really acceptable, et cetera, or allowing things that you don't want. So for example, do you order food at a restaurant and, it's not what you want and you're just like, oh, well, all these little things add up. And the more that you enforce your boundaries in one area of your life, including your physical health, then in other areas, it's also impacted. So it's so powerful.
Another tip that there's some really,
awesome.
I actually, I did do another episode that you would, it was like tips for highly sensitive people and empaths, and really simple ones like taking conscious showers. And what I mean by that is after, or washing your hands consciously. So after a client, going to, between clients, because you do that really quickly, washing your hands and just imagine as you're washing them, you're washing away and cutting all of the energetic ties and just sending them on their way with love, and that you're just staying in your space as a channel for divine. Little things like that. Or you can take a psychic shower. So if you don't have time to go actually take a real shower, you have time in your room, however you do your services, or if it's over the phone, you can just sit there quietly and just visualize like a light shower. And all of that is just purifying your field and bringing you back to neutral, because we want to be neutral with our clients anyway, so that we can just allow God's love to flow through us. And you work with Archangel Michael a lot. And
I work with him. You can ask him to clear you. Another thing that I found helpful is I love the washing hands tip. And we absorb so much from our heart chakra and our head and our crown, especially if we're doing psychic work. So one thing that seems minor, but just wash your hands, and then afterwards literally like dry your hands. Like they can be dry, but there's still enough of that kind of clearing energy that you can like literally wipe your hands over your head, and that actually kind of really clears it. Yeah. So, and I do think regardless of whatever you're doing, and sage is a good physical tool as well. It's important to do that even mentally between clients, because otherwise you just get this like buildup, or even between meetings during the day or whatever. It doesn't even have to be psychic work.
And another tip, we have all kinds of tips. I hope you're taking notes.
I am, yes.
Good, okay. So essential oil, lavender is a really nice neutralizing and clarifying and relaxing and all that kind of stuff. So you can take some lavender essential oil, just a couple of drops in like a spray bottle with a little bit of sea salt. The sea salt is just to kind of also be a purifier and draw out. And so you can spritz yourself. Laura and I just spritzed ourselves with a little, like lavender. It was lavender, frankincense, and ylang ylang is what we used. But lavender is nice, and you can just, these little rituals. I mean, they're rituals, and they're not actually, the ritual themselves aren't necessary, but they give us a focal point so that we can, with our intention, release this stuff and clear. That's what it's really for. But essential oils are magical. I mean, they're called essential. They're the essence of the plant life. And so it's like the lifeblood. So you could do a little spritz on your face or on your hands and just know that that's clearing your field and you're releasing with love and bringing yourself back to neutral and back to your home.
Okay, then, and it sounds easier if you're working with clients and so forth, but what if these energies latch onto you are in your home because people who tend of the lower vibration times, just complaining about life, the news and so forth, just, that people tend to do. Do you remove the energy and would you do it away?
I
think you're saying how do you clear your home because of your clients? Yeah.
Well, I get that this physical boundary piece is really important for you, that you set the intention and ask the angels to help you align and connect with people that are bringing light energy into your life. And the more you say yes to things that you want, and the more you say no to things you don't want, then the lighter things shift. So the analogy I give is our lives are very much like a Netflix queue. Whatever you say yes to, you get more. You get more suggestions for that in the future. And the more you say no to, then that's noted and then removed. So it's not an immediate thing, but I get for you, it's a process of doing and asking for what it is that you want and releasing what you don't want. And over time, that's going to make a big shift.
And, this is something that I heard from a teacher, Crystalline Compton, recently. She said, talking about boundaries with your spiritual practice, that one thing that goes into it when you're ramping up your practice is also like discounts and not charging enough. And the thing about all of that stuff is that, we love so much and we're sensitive and we care about everyone, but you're not necessarily that person's healer. There are plenty of other healers, and there may be another person that is their healer. And your cue as to whether you might be their healer or not is if it feels right to you, because that God put that in your heart, gave you a heart as your divining rod for what your calling is. So if there are some things that don't line up, then you should release them so that they can find their appropriate healer. Does that make some sense? That'll let you off the hook because we think like, oh, I love, and you do. But you know what? Just the fact that they came into your experience and you released them, that was you giving them love, if that's what was meant to be. And
yes.
And something that I'm actually learning today specifically about the discounts, and we start our practice as a beta test and we charge less, and also, moving our prices up is always something, but we start with our friends and acquaintances. Know that, like, I have an acquaintance that I started at a discount because I was like, oh, I want to help. And now I'm at a place where with this client, I know that the reason that I'm helping this client before I even make an appointment is for them to stand up and say, I deserve this and I want to pay for this because that's my energy contribution. And I want that, it's like her being in her power about it. And I actually did her a disservice by not letting her contribute. And we're both, she's uncomfortable saying like, oh, do you understand that? It's actually like
it's disempowering. It's disempowering in some ways that they can't. It's affirming that they can't do it.
Yeah.
When you reduce in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I would do a disservice to her by saying, okay, and not, of course, me too. Like we want to do the work that we want to do and that we're excited about, and we feel rewarded in every way because that's how we bring our best self to it.
And another good tip, and this goes right into the topic, which is kind of over helping, is that we do not need to be the the avenue or the outlet for the helping for the universe for everybody.
Yeah.
And just when we release that need that it has to be us, that's very empowering. And we can ask the angels, for example, or ask the universe, ask God, whatever, you feel connected with to help in that situation. So whether it's, people that you perceive to be being hurt in the world, or an individual or an animal. I see this a lot with animals. It's important to release that you're personally responsible, or that you have to be the one to help. And when we do that, it allows for the universe to heal and do whatever it needs to do in a much easier way.
To flow.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking when you said this, never thought about this before, that, that idea of you're not necessarily their healer. Just think about it. God created angels.
Right.
To help us heal. I mean, so if there's an angel for that, there's probably another healer for that. Yeah.
And the angels also have the tools, whether it be them to help or to direct them to a person who can. So they just know so much more about the bigger picture, whereas we often are much more limited. So it's just better all around. And then we don't have to take on that burden.
Right.
Right. And especially as healers, so many of us have taken on way too many burdens as it is.
Yeah.
So it's good to release that.
It's a good intention, but but we want to be powerful and most effective. How's that feel, Darius?
Feels phenomenal. I'm listening quiet, but I'm really taking it. I'm very appreciative of this moment.
Oh,
much.
Wonderful.
It's great.
Thank you so much for calling. Anything else before you go?
How do I claircognizance? Because when that comes to me, I always thought it was just clairvoyance or clairaudience or something. How do I work that and own it? Because I definitely doubt with that.
It's interesting to, for me, I think it feels like claircognizance because it's channeling, and channeling to me, it feels very much like claircognizance. I'm sure you definitely clairaudience and clairvoyance, and to me, it's all just translating vibration anyway. And it doesn't matter that much. You just go and you just you clear your mind, and you just expect that you just wait for the message, and it comes the way it comes. We kind of like to look at the tools and the methods that come through, but you don't have to try. It feels to me like claircognizance as I'm translating, as I got my clairvoyant image of you, because I see it being dropped down into your crown, and I see you channeling. So, but what do you think? Does he need to? Well,
I'm definitely to work on. That's like my goal right now. It's like that's my main focus. I think that really excites me to the thought of. So I'm really trying to focus on, and I'm making progress with that for sure. I want to make sure that I do it correctly, and I'm telling something that is of the heights and not something that doesn't belong.
Yeah, I'm just getting that this is for you to do a lot of reading and exploration, and just whatever you feel drawn to is going to be what you need to learn at that time. But just trust yourself, just trust your gifts and what you're receiving. That's the big thing. And a lot of that just comes with practice as well.
Yeah, it's just practicing. It's really like a muscle. And for me, the thing that, I don't know if this will help, but I just tell myself before I'm going to do anything that is, reading or anything, and I just say, this is going to be fun. And because it is, even if you're helping someone who's in a lot of need, it's still fun because it's just feeling that power of love. And that's all you have to do is just expect it to be fun or loving or blissful or whatever, joyful, whatever that resonates in your heart. And then that's all you have to do. I tell people the way that you get good at doing psychic stuff is to get good at doing nothing. It's just show up and just allow.
And listening.
Yeah,
listening and,
that's it.
to internally to what our gifts are. And it is hard because we're in such a society of kind of bombardment.
Noise.
From everything. So to listen to that inner quiet voice can be harder, but it can be done with practice.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to, Darius, that whatever we talk about, because we're going to be talking about things that relate to you and helping, that it would be beneficial for you to just keep listening, because even if we're talking to the group, it's also for you.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
All right.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for calling.
Awesome.
Really nice to meet you. You're very, very sweet.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hope to talk to you again another time.
For sure. I'll be watching.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. Cindy's back. Okay.
I'm getting it'd be good to just talk about our topic.
Let's talk.
All
We're
right.
going to talk about our topic, Cindy. If you want to hang on a minute, and we'll talk a little bit more because Darius ushered it in for us.
Yes. Yeah. So when we were brainstorming what to talk about, and there were several things that came up, but one of them is the issue of overhelping or being almost addicted to helping. And I think I see it so much in our society right now. I see it a lot with women, but with people in general, and especially healers, that people are so compelled and drawn to help, and they get a little kind of reward when they do it, but it's not really about what's internally driving them or what's feeling good for them. And therefore it can be damaging, because just like any addiction, it builds, and it's really not about true satisfaction.
Yeah.
And then you need more and more of it.
Right.
In order to feel good.
And what I think addiction in general is, and what you're talking about, the reward that you're getting, it's because you feel a momentum, and it makes sense. It's human to respond to momentum, but the momentum that is the best for us to respond to is the love momentum.
Yeah.
Which include, how it feels wonderful, like if you have the strong boundaries and being able to send someone away in love and feel powerful, feel like I did that for me and for them.
Yeah.
That's a momentum that is really whole.
Yes. And by the way, I'm not saying that helping is a bad thing. Please don't misunderstand. Helping can be a wonderful thing, but I think it's important to tune into why are you wanting to help? And also know that when you're working with the light, that it's a win-win situation instead of a win-lose dichotomy. So if you feel badly, or there's a detrimental aspect to you, then that is what I would call like unhealthy helping. But you might still get this like sort of brain chemical hit or high.
Right.
So you see this a lot with people that are sort of martyrs, where they like do everything for everybody, and then they're like sick and struggling, but they are still kind of addicted to that cycle.
Absolutely. And I like to talk about, there's a difference between assisting and rescuing.
Yes.
And
empowering someone else to help themselves is I think the best way.
Yes, exactly. The metaphor of, you carried your friend up the hill, and then when you get to the top, you're all worn out, and they don't have the fitness to make it back down themselves because you carried them. And to be a little straightforward, you robbed them of building their fitness to take care of themselves.
I was giving the message when we were talking about what to talk about today. This is especially for moms or women, because it's a special challenge, I think, for women to help in a healthier way, and especially with moms that have multiple children, where you're loving your children so much, and you're trying to do everything for them. But then that might work at the beginning or with one child, but then after a period, that the helper gets very depleted, and not only that, but then the children, whoever they're helping, are not learning what they need to do to move forward. So it's actually a kind of a lose-lose, even though the helper is coming from the place of wanting to support and assist, but they are not, when you look at it from the perspective of being just empowering the person that they're helping. Helping,
right. Well, exactly. The moment that you have your children, or I think maybe after 18 weeks, you're supposed to be preparing them for the world.
Yeah.
Well, you do the moment because you're showing them the world, by being you, and, their perfect consciousness is connecting with yours. So I remember the phrase, and to spoil the rod. Spare the rod, spoil the child, which, by the way, doesn't mean spanking. The rod is the shepherd's rod, about discipline. Like a shepherd's rod actually, this is from the Bible, just guides the sheep into alignment.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what it is. Like the
and
staff,
people think of it as beating their children.
They didn't beat sheep. That doesn't help a shepherd.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I'm so glad to understand that.
Yeah, the big rod, they're herding the sheep, and so it's discipline, it's guidance. Yeah. And then this, I think, is an extrapolation. This is not something that's but to spoil the child is to hate the child. It's kind of stark, but hate is a strong word. But yeah, you're not preparing them for the truth. You're lying to your child. Yeah. And even in adult relationships where we're over helping, you're lying to them by saying that this is what the world will give you. I will sacrifice myself and have and be not helpful to myself or anyone else. And then you don't even know what to, the problem with the over helping too, and I'm sure Laura is speaking from experience because I know I am from my, especially when I was younger, that there isn't any reward for you. There isn't any reward for the over helper. And, I lost my train of thought, so go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you can get there is an actual kind of brain chemical high that you can get from it, but it's short-lived.
It is.
And it's not a true, like, heart, soul kind of satisfaction. And then what can happen is that you unconsciously usually are then pursuing more of that. So you're like, I want to help more. I want to help more.
Yeah.
And that is a kind of a downward spiral. I mean, anything that's an addictive pattern is. But I think it's so much more truly satisfying to look at what is it that makes you feel good, not purely for what is for another person, but what is it that for yourself brings you joy and light.
Yeah, self-reference is something I like to talk about. That was something that took me a while to heal into in my life, to know that we are meant to self-reference because we're us. Like, of course we are. Like this is the who we were given. This is the tuner that we were given, but we we get conditioned by the world that we're not enough and that we have to reference someone else because being rejected means death. That's really what our ego believes. Being rejected means death because we start off as babies that are physically dependent. And I mean, being rejected is death for a baby.
Right, that's true.
Baby. So we, without being able to look at those old beliefs with consciousness, they just stick around. We have to displace them with the beliefs that are true. That your instrument, the whole mind, body, spirit mechanism is actually your tuner. Is what you're supposed to use as the authority in what's happening in your field, in your existence.
I think this idea that you brought up of rescuing too is very important because when someone rescues someone else, it is not empowering them, but also it's often taking them away from whatever lesson it is that their soul is trying to learn.
Yes.
And so even though the person who's the helper, rescuer is coming from a good place, oftentimes it's actually delaying that person on a soul level from the lesson. So very similar to if you're not teaching someone a life skill that they needed to do, it delays or their progress on a real physical level. On a soul level, that person may have to incarnate again and then get to that same place to learn, when I do this action, this is what happens. Right. But if someone else is saving them from that, then they still have to learn the lesson.
Yeah.
And so it actually delays their progress. So you see this with, addictions and interventions where sometimes people are trying to intervene because they're trying to stop someone from something that they perceive as very painful. And I understand that when you love somebody, but we also have to understand that until that person is really ready to move forward, they won't.
They won't. Yeah.
And so it's lost energy for us, and it's also lost energy to them in terms of what they're working on.
And I think that this, we're seeing it in a really different. It's not really different, but it's just so heightened right now because I have so many sensitive friends. Of course, that's who we attract. It's who we love because that's what we're like. And as I said at the top of the show, watching the news and becoming very angry and feeling victimized about it and fearful. And that's what actually drives people to protest. And I'm not saying protesting is wrong, but just the reason that people go out and protest is because they have all of this fear and anger and they don't know what to do about it and they feel helpless. And that people are really getting addicted to watching the news and feeling bad about it, because they think that this is what I'm supposed to do to be able to help. But if you're feeding the negative energy by feeling sadness and feeling fear and anger, all you're doing is creating fear and anger. And that's not actually how we work to uplift fear and anger. We have to do
and
that
to
with
make
love.
change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Change comes with
Yeah.
love.
I completely agree that, whatever we put our energy into, and that can mean what we purchase with our dollars, what we put our attention towards, feeds that. So are you putting your attention towards something that is what you want or what you don't want?
Right.
And too often people are putting attention towards something that they don't want. And the other piece that I think is important is that if you are, let's say, finding something that you feel is unjust or whatever, you're coming from that place, and that you're putting your attention to it in a positive spin that is making movement towards what it is that you want. So I recently interviewed Lynn Povich, who's the author of Good Girls Revolt, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. It's a show about the women who sued Newsweek magazine for sexual discrimination. And we discussed how important it is to take actual steps. So if you're finding that there's something unjust or that you don't like, and you're just kind of like, I'm angry, it's kind of just putting energy into what you don't want, but there's no positive outcome towards it.
Right.
But if you direct it in a loving direction of, oh, this is what I want this to support this, instead of I'm against this
That's
other
right.
thing, it's a whole different energy.
That's true. Yes, exactly. Thinking about supporting something than fighting something. And I put up a quote that I heard from, his name is Daryl Adkin. He channels an extra dimensional entity, I think he may be Pleiadian, called Bashar. And he said, we don't end war by hating war. We end war by loving peace.
Yeah, right. It's the same idea. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. It's the Dalai Lama that said, be the change you want to see in the world. And in order, be peace. That's how we bring peace, is that we occupy the vibration, the space of peace. And so it just means that, if you watch the news and it brings you into that fearful, angry, sad place, then you need to take a step back.
Yeah.
And there's a different place that you start from to be supportive and responsible and a peace bringer, a light bringer. You just need to take a step back. And there is a place of power, and it will feel good. And that's how you'll know, is because it will feel good.
Yeah, and this ties into this whole issue of the helping topic, because I recently, actually it was last year, before much of what's happening right now started on a deeper level, got that whatever unfolded politically and governmentally here in the United States was very karmic. And by karmic, I mean about patterns and lessons that lots of different souls are learning. And so there's a lot of frustration on either side, but the important thing to remember is that it's not wrong what's happening. I know that sounds strange, but it is what it's meant to be in order for these different souls to learn whatever it is that they're learning, ourselves included. And so if we can just take a step back and not feel like it's wrong, that's helpful. And then just take care of what we need to take care of for ourselves, including maybe not watching too much TV or maybe over Facebook political posting or whatever.
Facebook. Facebook is interesting. It can be like an oracle, about where I am.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Yeah, I know how I'm doing based on what I see on Facebook. So there's certain things I see and I'm like, oh, time to get off. I need to clear my energy.
Center.
Yeah. So
because
true.
I can go Facebook and I can just not see the political stuff and just see the look how cute my dog stuff is.
Yeah.
And but then sometimes I'll be like, oh, only picking up oops, gotta close out.
Yeah. Yes.
I gotta go center.
This is brilliant. I totally agree. That, and it's not just Facebook, but I think it's even just what you kind of see online.
Yeah, definitely.
Or in the world around you. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, it probably means that you're kind of overhelping in terms of empathy, and it's time to take a step back into yourself, do some grounding, clearing, do some self-nurturing.
Yes, although we talked to Darius about grounding is really good, and literally like standing on the earth and feeling Earth's vibration is very helpful.
water is always so helpful for me. I'm taking a lot of baths with the politics being the way that, and like whatever area you stand on your beliefs, I think it's intense for everybody.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what your opinion about whether you think what's happening is good or not. Either way, we're all, kind of traumatized by it if we don't pull back.
Yeah. A friend, a peer posted on Facebook, I haven't been speaking to my parents very much because their political beliefs are opposite of mine. And we actually just had a conversation finally, and really like a brave conversation where, we really tried to just be open and actually learned that our beliefs themselves were actually the same, but they were, they're responding to the politics, to the options in different ways. But of course they both, her parents are compassionate people and she's a compassionate person. That's where they found one another. And she was, just like, it blew her mind. She's like, I can't believe that. And so it's programming.
It is. And I really do believe that if people are respectful of each other, they can have friendships with different political views. It doesn't have to be, that, we're on opposite sides of the fence and we can't talk anymore or anything. But if you're connecting with people who are not respecting your views or respecting your desire not to talk about it, then I think that's also can be a sign that it would be healthy to take a step back.
Definitely. Yeah. Right.
To take care of yourself and what you need.
And though, again, like we go back to the boundaries, and it's healthy then for that person to have that feedback, to know, because just think about it. If you let that person abuse you, then they're going to think it's okay abuse, I'm using that loosely, but if you let them run roughshod over your boundaries, that's a habit that you've just allowed them. And they, what if they did that to their boss? They could lose their job.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they don't get the accurate feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important, and just to remember again, whatever, if you're allowing something in that is not what you like, then basically you're saying to the universe, I want more of that, and what I want isn't important. And that sets a very powerful precedent.
And we need you. We need everyone. We need just like an ecosystem, we need every flower in the garden. So we need you to be the flower that you came here to be. We need you to be able to express your nectar so that the bees can be fed. And we need you in the garden. So denying who you are is actually doing a disservice to all of us.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, this has been really great. Laura, why don't you, we're just about out of time, so we didn't do it at the top of the show. Please tell everyone what's going on with you and the kind of work you're doing, where they can find you, all of that stuff.
Great. Yeah. So you can find out more about my psychic work on my website, healingpowers.net, and my other entertainment work on laurapowers.net. And I host a podcast as well. It's called Healing Powers Podcast, and you can find that on iTunes and Stitcher, all the channels. And I'm doing a lot of traveling right now, as we mentioned earlier. So I'll be going this spring to Miami, Boston, Nashville, New Orleans, and I know there's some that I'm skipping. I'll be in Denver as well. So
She can't even remember.
But feel free to check out my website. And also, I love to connect with people from those areas. So if you're there, you're interested in connecting, or know a venue, a good place for me to go to, I'm definitely open to that. And I just want to thank everybody for listening and for being in tune and doing self-work. I think it's so amazing. And that is really how we change the world, is it's so often. And that's part of this protesting thing, is about changing externally. And if we focus, and I'm not saying not to protest, but I think there's a danger in putting too much focus on like trying to get others to change. Right. When if we change ourselves, then that changes the world so much.
Actually, with a client today, that was the question, was I'm not connecting with, this is an example of what you're saying, I think, I'm not connecting with my husband. And I said, well, what would you say to your husband? I want to connect with you. Guess what? You're actually, you turn that around, that's you saying that to yourself. Is that true? And, what if you said to your husband, I would love it if you bought me flowers. Wouldn't you love it if you bought you flowers? I mean, doesn't that even feel more, you know what I mean? Like more tender? Yeah. So be sweet to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important.
That's how you serve us.
Yeah.
That's how you become your flower.
And this is why the overhelping thing is so dangerous, because if you help to your own detriment, you're basically saying that you don't matter. And that's sending unloving energy out into the world to yourself.
Yeah.
And everyone deserves to be treated well,
Right.
ourselves included. And sometimes we have such a deep desire to help others that we forget ourselves. And there's no need, because the light, situation is win-win.
Yes, agree. Yeah, of course. I agree. Okay, well, thank you all. I think that's our show today. And what a lovely show, Laura. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks
and
for having me.
fitting us in while you're about to take flight on your fairy wings.
Thanks so
somewhere
much.
else.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
The pleasure's mine. The honor is mine. And so we'll be back again on Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, Charmed Life. I'm Tricia Carr. Thank you for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.